Okay, well, welcome to Watercolor Studio 42, and today I'm going to do, probably finish up a little bit on another fall scene. I was almost tempted today to do another, something about, Halloween, but I'm going to let that go by the boards, because probably by the time I got to Halloween, it would be probably a week later or so. Okay, so we're still into fall, so we don't have to worry about that. And this particular picture I have is a little bit on the darker side, so I'm going to kind of perk it up, make it a little bit lighter. And it looks like some sort of a shed. It could be a sugar shack or something where they do maple syrup, how they boil it and so forth. And there's another little building that I left out, and I replaced it. I'm going to put some water in that area, and so that you're looking out over a pond. Then we'll have some trees in the foreground, and some grass up here, and some trees that probably would be closer to us. And we're kind of looking down the hill a little bit here, and at this the building. So I'm going to see if I can start off. I'm going to probably put a little bit of blue sky up in the upper part, and that's what I usually start with. Is the blue sky. We'll be using that. That's Payne's Gray. We'll be using some of that. And then, I don't know if this has much yellow in it, but I'll leave it out. I got a green over here. I'll probably use some of that green. And let's see what else I'm looking for, the blue. Something for the sky. You'll see a little bit of the sky showing through. The sky in this picture looks very dull and dark, and I'm going to just kind of make it a brighter day, hopefully. If I can find a blue. Oh, no, that's not it. Let's see. It looks like Payne's Gray. A lot of Payne's Gray in there. Oh, there's my blue. It was hiding. Okay, now we're all set. All right. So what I do is take, usually I use my larger brush, and where I'm going to see some sky, I'm going to indicate where the water would be too, while we're using the blue. Get a little bit of blue out here. And I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to wet this back here. This is just some clean water from relatively clean, I guess. Not apt to drink it right now, but okay. We just wet this, and I'm going to I'm going to stick with my larger brush, and we're going to paint in, indicate where the blue of the water is going to be. Something like that. Okay, so let's start in, and we get some, oops, needs more paint on the brush than that. Wow, come on. Here we go. We're going to get this painted in a little bit over here. Get some sky in there. I'll put a little bit more paint on my palette here. Yeah, that's better. That's a little better. We'll paint some sky in up in here. 1, 2, probably 3 places. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do is just kind of wiggle the brush around, pull some of that color out. It will make it a lot lighter. this color's a little bit deeper than I normally would use. I use that cerulean blue or phthalo blue. This one here happens to be ultramarine blue. Okay, we just pull some of that down in there. Okay, and over in here, you're going to have some water. Make that a little darker. And through here. Now what I've been doing lately, and to help it show up a little bit better on TV, is I've been sketching light with the pencil and then going over it with a permanent marker. And I mean permanent because if you used a regular black marker or whatever, it would just smudge and blur out. So you want to make sure when you use the marker that your paper is dry, and then you can draw on top of the color, or you can just, what I've done is draw it first with the marker. Okay, now let's come down here, and I'm just going to put some color in where the leaves are going to go, right across through here. And again, if it's a little bit on the lighter or brighter side, you could just quiet it down. I usually use a sponge too. I pat it to get some of the texture. Okay. Let's go over into here. This is supposed to be in front of the barn, so we'll have to have some paint overlapping where the barn is here. Fill that in out here. Like I said, I usually tap a little bit with the sponge. It creates more of a texture of leaves. Okay, right about in here. This has a little bit more yellow to it too. Let's just drop some, we'll put some yellow out here. Yes, to sneak some of that in there because I might need that. I'm going to use some of the yellow in the foreground here for the grass eventually. Let's put some yellow into this orange. The foliage this year has been very, very good. The leaves seem to have grown a little bit larger than normal. And they fill up the brown bags pretty fast when you're raking. I'm just going to go up into here, a little high, right to the edge of the paper here. And I'm going to fill this in out here. Kind of fill it in with more or less of a solid color for now. Go into here. Okay, that can be a little bit darker eventually back there. This picture, for the most part, photograph, looks like it was taken early in the morning or late in the afternoon because it's kind of dark, really. Just before sunset here. Seems to be. Okay, we'll bring that down in there. Like I was saying, I use a little bit more water on that. And I think I could sneak a little bit more of that yellow over into here. Whoops, there we go. I got one palette inside the other here. Alright. Sneak some color into here. Now, as I usually mention, when I use color, I always repeat it somewhere else. At least 3 times, okay? Put some of that up into here, some of that yellow color. And where else could we fill it? A little bit more down into here. Bring this into here more. Okay. We'll bring this, I can, excuse me, I've had this down cold. I think everybody's had some kind of cold lately. The weather changes. I thought today would be cold again, and it came out, it was pretty warm. We're almost into November. Another day, I guess. Whatever. Let's go out into here. I'm not quite sure. It goes off the page, but we just put some color up into there. Okay. Sometimes I leave a white little imaginary border around there with tape. Go down into here and repeat some of that yellow off in there. And sneak a little bit more maybe up into here. How's that? And we're going to use some of that yellow. Gotta squeeze out a little bit more. I tend to use a lot of yellow because I don't have too many tubes of green. I just use the yellow and blues to make a lot of the. But what I'm going to do is put some of that yellow down into here because I want to make it look a little bit more kind of fresher looking. Perk it up a little bit more. Looks like it's brighter up over in that area. Right in through here. Okay. What you have to do is get kind of some color on your paper. And nothing worse than looking at a white piece of paper. You get something into it. And once you get something into it, you have to know when to stop also. Very important. Just fill some in. Oops, I'm going to put some paper towel so I don't mess up the table a little bit. Just get some towel under here. Along that bottom edge here, that's better. Okay. Now when I do put some blue into this, let's take some blue. While this is wet, we can get some of that green. Mix it right on the paper. Not really turning greenish, but a little bit dark shade anyways. Okay, we got that in there. I'll push a little bit more over here. Why I'm not getting as much of a greenish shade is because I kind of didn't put enough yellow into it to make it turn green. Let's squeeze some yellow right on the paper and wiggle the brush into that, see what we can do. Turn it greener. It's quite dark in through this area, down around through here. Okay, go across the bottom. Get some paint on my fingers. See if I can rub that in. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, that's coming along pretty good. It's hard to tell what's around the building here other than there should be some bushes to hide some of it. Now I do have, somewhere here, I do have a green. It looks like it could be a greener color. See what it looks like. Oh, that's not it. That is not it. But we can leave that in there. I'm just going to mix it in and blend it out. Because there's going to be some leaves on the ground. So we'll pretend that's some leaves down there. It moves us over here a bit. I'll take some of that. It's kind of heavy there. Yeah. So right out to the edge. Now, if you put a mat on this later on, of course, you're going to lose some of the edge, but that doesn't hurt anything too much. Okay. All right. Now, I thought that was a green. It looked like a green, but it didn't come out that way. What else can we find here? About that one. Yes, that's green. Okay, so take some of that, wiggle that in around in here. Do a little bit too much water. Just kind of spread it out a little bit. Not exactly the shade that we probably want for the green. I'll blot that out a bit. We'll come back and hit that with something else later on. Okay. Now, see what else we want to do. There's going to be off in the distance, there's going to be some trees. And I'm going to use a smaller brush. We're going to put some trees in back here. See what we got. I'm crazy about that one. Now, in the photograph, it's a lot of red there. In the photograph, you can't see the background off in the distance. Okay, get some of that color in. Now, seeing that I use that color, I have to put it somewhere else. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier on that I'm trying to make this look a little bit more cheerful, and that particular picture there is a little bit on the dark side. Now, you can always work light, and as you go along, let this thing dry out a bit, you can start putting some darker shades into that. And right now, what I'm doing is just kind of wiggling the brush around, distributing some of that color. There you go, put some a little bit more down there. Okay, we got that. Now, the roof is going to be sort of a lighter shade of grays. And I'm going to use some of my, if I can find my sepia somewhere. Not my sepia, I don't want that one. I want Payne's Gray. Let's see if this is gray. I'm not quite sure. It looks like it. Now I can wet this a little bit. I got another color on the brush here. Yeah, I just blend it around, push it around. Let's see if this is dark enough. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's take this Payne's Gray, we'll spread that around on the roof. No, I keep getting the thing mixed up here. Right. I know I had a Payne's Gray around here somewhere. Maybe that's it. Maybe that could be it. Put that up here. Okay. Now, put a lot of green in this thing. I don't want that. I don't want all that in there. So, I'm going to take a paper towel. See if I can lighten that up a bit. And we'll come on top of it. Let's do some of that Payne's Gray. Yeah, that's better. And spread this around here a bit. Take some of that, it's a little bit on the darker side. Okay, get that in here. Spread that over. There. Now I can always get that a little bit lighter. All I have to do is add a little white into it. If I want the roof to be a little bit lighter. Yeah, something like that. I want to get this pull some of that over. In the photograph, the roof is much lighter shade. Not much. I'm getting it out now, so it's closer to the color. Okay, and while we're at it, we're going to do this part up here. Take some out of here. Do the roof in that area. Yeah, something like that. Okay, you can kind of see how we're going with this thing. And let's see, that's supposed to be water, so this is going to be some more land off here somewhere. I kind of jump around when I'm painting. I don't paint one particular area. I tell everybody this all the time, that I don't stick with one particular area. I kind of jump around. And okay. Now, let's see where, you know how I am about repeating colors. And this sort of a kind of a yellowish, lighter shade of orange here. I do have Payne's Gray. We could use some of that, I suppose. And see what we add a little bit. Yeah, get a little bit more green into it. Get carried away with these big brushes. Okay, just gonna have some green off here. All right, now you start thinking about, oh, you know something, see, and I use that color. Let me put some up in this area. See how that kind of takes your eye around a little bit. Color distribution. And we could use some of that on the barn too. The barn is a much darker color. Put some of that in there. And all through here, you can make this a lot darker. Now, when you use a big brush, sometimes you can cover a lot of territory in a hurry, but also it sort of restricts you from getting too fussy. Sometimes we get too fussy, picky sort of, we say. So this kind of keeps us so that we're doing things a little bit different. Less work. Now lately I've been doing my pictures, like I said, I sketch it out first, with a pencil, and then I come back in and go over that pretty much with the marker. And then I can finish up a little bit more of the outlining with the marker. Okay, we'll lighten this up. I want this lighter up in here. I let a little bit of the paper show through, give it a little bit of highlight. Now the thing is, with this, we've got all these lighter colors on, and I let it kind of dry a little bit more, and kind of work around some of these other little spots that I probably missed, and put a little bit more blue in. The blue's hiding again. Yep. Maybe this one. We'll use a little bit. No. Yeah. Now I'm going to switch. I've been using this 1-inch brush to do practically the whole picture. But I'm going to use a smaller one. And I'm going to do some of the water up here. Okay, and we can pull that out. And I just pull it across like that, flat. Just pull it right out of that area. Pull it right across, straight, something like that. And we can put a little bit of the detail in. Once it starts to dry, you might want to indicate a little bit more where the windows are going to be, you start to darken them in. Okay, might want to put a little bit more blue sky. It's kind of weak up in here. Just put a little bit more color in that. Not that much, but spread that around. Sort of a purplish sky, isn't it? You pull some of that out, repeat it over here, take some of this here, bring it back over here. Okay. Now, we can take some of this color, and you could sort of try it out if you want to kind of blend it in into the ground. I take a bigger brush and then spread it around more, pour down. And you can get it darker in some of the areas back here where the shadows are. The shadows do make a lot of difference in the picture. If you get those shadows in there, kind of gives it a little bit more contrast. Okay. Oh, I don't want that there. I don't want that in there. It's a little bit much. I was trying to do something like bushes that might have some color on it. I don't really need that. Okay. You have to excuse me, my cold. I think it affects my voice a little bit too. Okay, now, when this is drier, you can come back in. I don't think it's dry enough yet. No, it's still a little bit wet. But what I do, I come back in with a larger marker, and I sort of shade in the windows a little bit. You can do it with a brush. You can do some texturing. These are new, so I've never had the caps off yet. They're kind of tight. But you can do some little speckling up here if you want. Bring out some leaf texture. It's still a little bit wet. I usually do this with a sponge to get that texture. And you can have some little specks on the ground, of course. That's a little bit too wet yet. So you could do a little bit more with it as far as detail goes. And then what I usually do is cut a mat, in this case, or you can just put tape around the inside and it removes the tape, and you have sort of a false mat, a white area that locks it in. You can do that. This is kind of, needs a little bit more texture there. We could drop some specks into this. Like I said, you can do it with a sponge too. Some leaves on the ground. I think this is still a little bit too. You can kind of put in some windows here. You know, a little bit of texture. This could be a door. Okay, you can work on a little bit more. Where this is still a little bit on the wet side, you probably don't want to touch it too much. I guess this is dry it down. You can have some tall flakes of grass coming out of here if you want. Kind of lifts up when you do it. Make some texture in the foreground. There's some grass in here. You know, it kind of all adds to it. And so a lot of times when I do these pictures now, I'm not afraid to let some of the color go over the edges. You know how I used to say with a crayon, stay inside the line. But with watercolor, you can take a little bit of liberty with it and kind of go over the edges a little bit more, you know. You can add a little bit more contrast. This particular picture, is very, very dark, and that's why you don't probably want to make it that dark. But I can come back in and I can make this darker through here. I can go a little darker in there. All of this back here could be darker. And then another thing too, you could take a marker and you can make some of the limbs a little bit heavier. I'm not doing that right now because it's wet, but that's another thing you can do with a particular picture. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. Now, got a little bit of extra time. Sometimes I just let that dry, but I just wanted to have some fun with you. Actually, today is, I think it probably is today, Halloween. Yes, it is. It's the last day of the month. We're going into November. And I think this weekend we have to change the clocks. We have to lose an hour, I guess. Well, anyways, so I just wanted to have some fun. This is Halloween, so what I do sometimes, I make like a Picasso type thing, and I start with a profile. I put the nose here, and you can make it like a 7 upside down, and then you can go from here down. You can give them a big smile, a big chin, and maybe some sort of little bow tie or something over here, or a collar. Come back up here, curl around for the ear, okay? So now, to continue on, let's give them some curly hair out to here, okay? Maybe his eye would be in here somewhere. Eyebrow, okay? Give him some teeth, you know? When you put teeth in, you don't have to draw the whole outline, just kind of suggest the teeth a little bit. Maybe do a little bit more than this, but just kind of just show some outlines, like the teeth. And now, Picasso used to put a side view profile, and then he would do something out here, and that could be an eye there. This could be something like a nose. Down here you could do the mouth again and kind of finish it off. So this becomes a side view, and this becomes a put a dot in there, circle. There's the eye. You can put an eyebrow in there if you want. One over here. See how it ties the two together? So a Picasso sometimes is like superimposing, put one thing over another. Now, you can come back here. You can go down to the edge if you want. You can show a little bit more of the collar here. Do something with that. If you wanted to put anything in the background, you could just put a little, you know, like maybe a hat, looks like a cap, and then you could put something going on in the background. Maybe they're walking down a busy street in the city. Put some buildings back there, and maybe a street signs, right? Mailbox, whatever it might be. Roads in the line, road off here. So you can do different things with it. But those are good exercises that if you want to loosen up sometimes when you're working. And you could do people, or you could do like a landscape if you want. Just kind of work around. You know, make a sort of a crazy-looking tree over here. Looks almost like one curly leaf, doesn't it? And then you can put some other trees in the background. Make sure you put some trunks on them. They sort of look like trees. Have something coming out of here, another limb going that way. These are sort of loosening up exercises that you can do with your paint. And this time of year, you know, being autumn, my gosh, there's a lot of different leaves and things that you can have on the ground. Maybe pieces, you know, whatever it might be. If you want to make it look like a golf course, you can put a little flag in there. A hole. And then you can have some clouds coming into the picture. Finish off the ground up in here. Let's see, this could be a sand trap, something that you could put down there. So you could create different things with this. You can have some fun with the paper. And then when you want to color it in, you know, you don't have to be too fussy with it. Just take some paint you might have left over on your palette, drop some color in, distribution of what the color is. Use up the rest of your paint here. All right. Okay. We got a brush around. Okay. Now, what else we got left on the palette here? Not too much of a variation of color. Well, that's kind of wild. Red and blue on the brush. Okay, now if you really want to go, you know, add more color to it, you just have to put more out on your palette. Let's say if you want to get more orange into that picture, you can do that. Distribution of color. So you can have some fun with it, you know, whatever you want to do. And that's what I do a lot of time. I do these little exercises, and it doesn't have to be with a brush. You could do these exercises just using your pencil. You know, just use your pencil and do these little exercises. You know, put some things in there like this, whatever you want to do with it, and kind of keep it loose, you know. Have some fun. If you want to make it look like people, let's see. I don't know if I can fit one in. Well, that looks like a face, doesn't it? Here's a dot for the eye. This one has a, let's see, the nose there, the eye would probably be up there somewhere. So you can make faces in this thing. Here's another face here. Just make the eye. And you can make things out of it. Okay? So there's a lot of different ideas. But what you want to do is take different size brushes, practice with different size brushes, large, medium, and a small brush. You don't have to go all the in-betweens. And then you can use pencils the same way, or I didn't bring any today, but I have a package of colored markers, and the markers are permanent ink, so you can draw with them, and you can paint on top of, as long as it's permanent ink, you can color in different shades with your watercolor brush, and that's kind of fun to do. Sometime, if I remember, I'll bring some different colored markers and show you how you can work out some ideas, okay? So we got a couple of things you can do. We've got, you finish this guy off. He looks like one of the Marx Brothers. You probably don't know the Marx Brothers. To us older folks, remember the Marx Brothers, the Three Stooges, all of those characters there that used to be in the funnies, but movies. And then once this dries out a bit, then you can come back and you can work on this and work with some of your darker colors if you want, right on top of this, you know, just putting one layer on top of another layer. So I kind of gave it a little extra today, but what I've been trying to do the last few weeks is show you some different ways to have some fun. You don't have to be able to draw great. You just have to kind of wiggle the pencil around on the paper and do some of these little exercises, not only with the pencil, but also using the markers and paintbrushes and so forth, and just have some fun with it. You don't have to use expensive paper to do these exercises. You can just take a newsprint pad and practice on a newsprint pad. It's like newsprint because it's like the paper that they print for newspapers, you know, okay, and whatnot. So there's a lot of different things you can work on. And what I try to do is keep it loose if I can, you know, just kind of drop the colors in there. You don't have to be too fussy about it. And then stand back, or you don't have to stand back and just look at what you've done. And I did a little work with a pencil. You take a color, whatever you have, and you could do something with your pencil to make that show up. I did some things with that. And it just adds a little extra texture to your artwork. So this is what I've been trying to do lately, is just show everybody that you don't have to be that great at drawing. You just have to kind of work loose and free and get used to having some fun with the pencil, markers, and crayons, and whatever other marking things you want to work with. You can use pastels too. Pastels, I usually wear some gloves with that, because some of that paint material gets into the skin. So with pastels, I usually put a pair of gloves on and use those. But they're fun. And you can take, because you got the gloves on, you can kind of rub it and blend the pastel into the paper. Just like you could do with the watercolors. Just I don't know if I can find a wet spot. Yeah, just wiggle it, hand around, and spread the paint around, okay? So it's a lot of fun to do. Well, I've kind of used up my time here talking about different things, but guess what? Brush is up, and we'll see you next time, okay?